Hello, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you again for the opportunity to work with you in the Forest Group. After hearing your concerns and pain points, we have some solutions for you to implement immediately to improve overall effectiveness among your team. Here's a list of topics that we will discuss today that are key to overall team strength. My colleagues and I will address each of these in turn and provide specific tools that you can implement to help address each of these areas amongst your team. Trust is a foundational building block for any successful team. Let's dig into two specific tools that you can implement to help the Forest Group build trust. Time to engage and connect in person is critical for any team, but especially one that has remote team members. My suggestion is a mandatory in-person team retreat. This will allow the opportunity for team members to come together to build trust, gain a personal understanding of one another, help foster a connection and respect among team members. Why this is important is this will lead to better communication and commitment, healthy and productive conflict among the team, peer-to-peer accountability, and allow the team to focus on results. My second suggestion related to building trust among the team is specifically for you, Joe. I agree with your HR leader that you should discuss the results of your 360 feedback review with the team. This display of vulnerability will go great lengths to show a genuine interest in your team and your commitment to your personal and professional growth. You will be taking a large step towards creating a psychologically safe environment among the team and overall developing better communication. I think the team will then feel open and honest and be able to have those vulnerable and critical conversations.
Hello, Joe. I hope you've been doing well. My name is Mitch Abbott, and I am here to help you and the rest of the Forest Group Company engage in some healthy conflict. Healthy conflict is very beneficial for any company, and it will pay dividends if you can use it in the right way. However, it really just depends on how consistent you can be with it, and you have to keep it a priority. So first things first, we have some key items that we should go over to increase better conflict, healthier conflict at the workplace. So, Joe, the most important part of engaging in healthy conflict, conducting healthy conflict, you gotta have a set of conflict norms. And these conflict norms are huge, and they need to be visible and understandable for everyone in that meeting, at every meeting. Pretty much, there are a set of rules and engagements that people need to abide by in order to keep pushing that conversation further. By giving everyone permission to engage in conflict, more ideas and better decisions are going to grow and slowly come out because that conversation is being pushed further than just what was at the surface. You're going to really find the deeper meaning and solution to a lot of things through conflict norms. When people can voice their opinions openly and not have to worry about what others might think, what they might think, how they might sound, anything along those lines, personal attacks and drama, it's slowly going to dissipate. When the trust is built and the understanding is there from constant conflict norms, people are really focused, they need to be focused on the goal, and that's what conflict norms will do. Everything else, all the unnecessary stuff, that will slowly dissipate. And lastly, when commitment can be increased through these conflict norms, when people feel like they are contributing and they have a say, it's going to just lead to more ideas and better feedback on everything, on how to have more successful conversations, how to have more successful norms, and you're just going to learn the ins and outs of the team and slowly work towards that goal and become more successful. So to help you engage in some healthy conflict, Joe, along with adding some conflict norms to every meeting, we would love to have a representative in there to conflict mine for you, or at least kind of ref your conflict mining And pretty much conflict mining is a person that is going to nitpick who you trust, that's going to nitpick maybe the more reserved people or where the problems are during that meeting. Maybe Jimmy hasn't said much today, he hasn't said much all week. Something might be on his mind and he just doesn't want to share it. And inviting him to engage in some conversation and to push that conversation further is huge. And it's just going to lead to more openness and more of a team like inclusivity bond among that group. Addressing these problems, addressing issues that are on people's minds that you can tell are bothering them, it's going to lead to more comfortability because they know that everyone else has heard their problems and is aware of what they might be going through, what they're facing, and the team as a whole can move on and learn and grow from that.
Hi, Joe. So your team scored low on commitment levels, and there are a few things that you can do to increase your team's commitment level to each other and the overall success of the team as a whole. First, it's important that your team understands and recognizes where they fit in the whole of the company and how their actions contribute to the overall success of the company. Knowing how the tasks they perform day in and day out gives meaning and purpose to their jobs and increases their commitment levels. We're going to talk about a few of the other specific things we can do as a team to improve their commitment levels. So although the company at large will have its own directives and initiatives, it's important that your team establishes its own vision. A good activity would be to meet together as a team and work together to determine a vision that is specific to the team, but also aligns with the company's objectives. Give every team member an opportunity to contribute to the vision, listen to each idea, and discuss the pros and cons. Want to make sure that each member is able to feel heard and respected so that their ideas don't feel like they were just thrown under the bus. The more that they weigh into the vision, the more they will buy in, even if they don't fully agree. So once you have a vision for the team, you want to make sure that your team understands why the vision is important and how their contributions lead to the success of the team and to the accomplishment of the vision. Employees want purpose. Having a team vision and knowing why it's important gives the employees a reason to show up to work every day. This purpose provides motivation that drives employees to accomplish the tasks that they set. So when your team has determined what their vision is and they understand the importance of the why, it's important that they establish goals or determine the how in order to accomplish that vision or bring that vision to life. We talked about a thematic goal, which is essentially it's a direct, small, short goal that has a single defining objective. This should also be determined by the team as a whole and should serve as a rallying cry or a team mantra that everybody can get behind and strives to live by. It should be direct, it should be qualitative, and have an end date. The thematic goal is accompanied by smaller individual components and should also tie into the company's overarching objectives and goals. So finally, Joe, I just want to talk a little bit about some general leadership principles that might be helpful for you to live by. One thing as a leader is to be able to understand who your employees are, what they're like, what their interests are, just getting to know them on a personal level. I know that you've been able to spend time with some of them on occasion, and that's helpful. That's great. I think the more time that you can spend together as a team, especially the more time that you can show your interest in their interests, will help them to realize that you're there to help them to be successful. Improving commitment starts with your connection to each team member along with their connections to each other. We talked about improving the purposes of your retreats and understanding how engaging in healthy conflict will help to build trust. And this will go along those same lines. I would add that getting to know each team member personally increases their respect for you, and therefore that'll help their commitment to the team. If you make an effort to get to know them, understand where they're coming from, make sure at work to identify what they're doing right, acknowledge their successes, recognize the things that they do right. Those kinds of things will help them to understand or see how you care for them and how you're interested in their overall success. If you listen, if you delegate to them, if you help them, if you empower them, they'll become extremely loyal to you as their leader and work harder. They will work harder because of your inspiration to them. Those are a few of the ideas that we have that should help you to be able to improve your overall commitment levels on your team.
Hey Joe, I'm Arthur Chittister, and I'll be going over the next portion of our strategy to assist the Forest Group create an effective team culture by increasing accountability among your teams. Since the last time we spoke, we had you complete an assessment of your current practices. I've attached a few of your results on this slide. From our last discussion, it seemed that there was definite room for improvement, but I want you to also acknowledge that your team does have strengths as well. Specifically, that your team members tend to follow through on their promises and commitments. This is a great step. Our goal is to assist the Forest Group improve all other areas within accountability to boost team performance. To boost team accountability, we recommend the following strategies and incorporate them into your team norms. First, publicize goals and expectations. And second, create structured and regularly occurring progress reviews. By adopting these strategies, you will help team members to not only be held accountable by management, but by other team members as well. Team members will feel pressure to perform, potential problems will be identified and resolved quicker, and finally, you will establish mutual respect among team members as the entire team is held accountable to the same level of standards.
All right, Joe. Now we've talked about building trust, engaging in healthy conflict, commitment, and peer-to-peer accountability. We want to talk to you about focusing on results. Joe, what we really want you to do is create a scoreboard. This is going to give the team a strong visual of what they're doing well, what they're doing okay at, and what they really need to work on. Okay, it's going to give them clear direction in how they can become better as a team. Okay, and what this is really going to do is reinforce what you've already built here. So the trust, the healthy conflict, the commitment, the accountability. Okay, it's going to really tie everything together because ultimately you're all going to be looking at this and discussing what you need to do to be focus in and become better at these things that are on that scoreboard. All right, and it's going to provide real focus on what's important, right, and what the team might be missing to make that next step, right, to achieve that desired goal. And it's also going to give the team an opportunity to celebrate, right, the things that they're doing well. Joe, it's going to be a long road, right? It's going to be hard, okay? So you need to celebrate those wins, right? Those things that you're doing well, so that the team has the courage to keep progressing and moving on. All right, Joe. So here we have a sample scoreboard. I just took some things that we talked about while we chatted with you, and I put them into this sample scoreboard here. So you'll see in green that I have role awareness. We talked about how everyone on the team knows exactly what their role is, they know exactly what they're doing day to day, which is awesome, right? In yellow, I put profitability because you said you were at 12%, now you're at 9%. Ultimately, you're still profitable, which is great, but we'd like to get it up there, right, past the 12%. So I put that in yellow because you're doing okay here, but still needs work. And what you really need to work on, right, is the inter-team and intra-team relationships. You mentioned this when we were talking with you, how those relationships within the team need to get better, and your relationships with other teams in the organization as well need to get better. So I put that in red for you. So again, this just gives you a clear vision of what's going on within the team, what they need to do better, what they are doing well at, right, and what they're doing okay at, but still needs work. Okay. So now circling back to everything we talked about now, right? So we talked about trust. We need you to do those performance 360 reviews, okay, and do a team retreat in person. Okay, we really think that that's gonna help the team members connect, be vulnerable, and ultimately trust one another, right? And then we talked about engaging in healthy conflict. You need to point conflict minors and also create conflict norms. This is really going to help the team members feel comfortable in speaking up, feel like they can speak up, and they also will feel like that they're being heard, right, when they do speak up. Then we talked about commitment, creating that thematic goal, something that the team can buy into, that they commit to, that they can commit to even in the hard times, right? And then we also talked about the peer-to-peer accountability. And with that, you really need to publicize goals and expectations, and also hold regular progress reviews. That's going to help everyone keep each other accountable, right? Even yourself, the team leader. It's going to help them keep you accountable, right? And then what I just talked about just now about creating that scoreboard, posting this at every single meeting somewhere where it's visible, so that way the team can see what they're doing well at, what they're doing okay at, and what they need to work on. Really drilling that into them, and keeping that in the meeting will be awesome. So that way they can engage in healthy conflict and discuss what's going on, and ultimately become a better team. Okay. So Joe, we really appreciate the time, and we loved working with you. And we know you have a long road ahead of you, but a very encouraging road ahead of you, right? Because you know exactly what you need to do to get back on track. Okay, and we wish you the best of luck, and we will look forward to hearing back from you on how everything's going within the team. So we'll talk soon, Joe. We really appreciate the time. We'll see you later.